I'm not impatient. What the fuck is? Hey, Brian.
Ryan, you need to just.
Welcome, and you are in the meantime with Mean Dave. This is episode 23.
Sounds more exciting than what it is.
I haven't come up with a title yet. Let's see. I'm sure a nice title will show up. It will be better.
Can I tell my goddamn story?
Probably should have thought of it ahead of time. Just try to brainstorm. I think it was. We had.
Can I tell my goddamn story?
Rona monologues week 1, then Rona logs week 2. So how about Rolo 3, log harder, or Rona 3, Rona 3, log harder. All right, so there we go. There's our title. All right, nice to see everybody back here. As you can see, I'm in more of a state of let's just fucking film this and get this the fuck over with. As most of the audience, I'm sure, is too by this point watching these. We are about to enter the supposed peak point of whatever the virus is going on. I don't mean to speak flippantly about the virus. It is very real. It is, killing people and whatnot. The transmission of it seems to always have something new every week. As originally we were told, we don't need to wear masks. Now everybody's like, get a mask. All that shit, all the same fun, stupid things. The 5G conspiracies have been taking a surge recently due to the unveiling of 5G. So yeah. So anyway, so this is sort of just it was good to, plus, the last two were in the same point of view. I wanted to give you another point of view. This is basically how my dick sees me when I'm beating off, I guess. Beyond that, I guess, I wanted to kick off this week once again, thanking everybody for always being supportive of not just this program, but of the weekly Zoom comedy shows we've been doing. Every Thursday, it looks like Nina G and I will be co-hosting Comedians Show and Tell. We kicked it off last week. It went very well. Had a great time. And it's basically where comedians will pick an object with some meaning. They'll talk about it and kind of the story behind it, and then answer some questions. And because it's the comedian friends that we have, usually humor just comes from it. It's not something trying hard to be funny and trying to imitate stand-up comedy in the privacy of your own home type stuff. But yeah, you'll get whatever. So yeah, so I don't even know what's the date today. Today's the 6th, so that'll be 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. So April 9th, this Thursday, it'll be that. And then on Sunday, every Sunday, as we've been doing, we will have another terrible podcast by Comics in Isolation with myself and Erie Diamond hosting. And we had a great time this last week with our guests Miles Weber, Chelsea Bierce, and Jorge Sanchez. And this week we've got newly LA moved comic, or from the North Bay up here, but she moved to LA recently, and that's Kayla Keller. So she'll be here. She'll be in LA, but zoomed in with us, and she's looking forward to it because she's going nuts with her 4 kids, being a single mom. And then also, surprise guest, my good friend Jason, who has been not only one of my oldest friends since junior high, one of the people that kind of kicked off my creative drug experiences with, doing a lot of LSD in high school. We even before that, we became friends through common interests in music. I think, as he pointed out not too long ago, it all started with an Exodus Fabulous Disaster cassette on a bus. And then we've stayed in touch on and off throughout the years, and we've been more in touch probably the last few years since my stand-up comedy. He's actually followed my comedy since around 2012. That's when he surprised me after not seeing him for many years. And then we kind of stay loosely in touch, and we've done so again through this coronavirus quarantine shit. And he's been a big fan watching the shows and stuff and supporting, and so he's an interesting dude that I don't want to give it all away, but tune into the show this Sunday, 6 p.m. Hit me up for the Zoom links and the Zoom passwords, or follow us on follow me on Instagram or Twitter and Facebook. We'll have the event and the Zoom information there. But people will get to hear his story. And he's got a noise outfit called Bird Spanker that he's going to hopefully upload some of his unreleased stuff for people to listen to. But yeah, he's going to talk about his career working editing porn and scoring it as well. And then also basically have a Q&A about being my friend growing up. So try to find some embarrassing facts about me. So speaking of embarrassing me, last week we got in our lockdown, I went to the store over here. I mostly only go to the grocery outlet out here. It's the only place that's not completely freaked out about all of the policies, the 6 feet, and all that kind of stuff. I'm paranoid and all that stuff to some degree, but I'm also like, yeah, kind of got a case of the fuckets with all this. And grocery outlets definitely my market in that regard. So go there. Staff's really cool. And if you go to a grocery outlet, I mean, really, are you really trying to live that long to begin with? And so I end up going there, and on the way there, my buddy, a friend of mine, also kind of a somewhat of a, I don't like calling him a hobby comedian because he's not, because he takes it seriously. He's not even necessarily an aspiring comedian. I want to say he is a part public servant and part comedian. His name's Mike Bucci. Shout out to Mike Bucci. He lives near me, and he was a candidate for Drew Harmon's popular shows. I Think I'd Be Good at That, where we train a non-comedian to do stand-up comedy. And Mike Bucci was the candidate last year in July, and had a great show. We had and all that, but he got bit by the bug, and next thing you know, he kept doing stand-up comedy. And so and I encouraged him because he's not awful for somebody who's new. Everybody who's new is awful, but he's not that awful for being new. He also takes it seriously and works at it. And he's a dad, and he's got a family, and that comes first, and so he has it prioritized properly. But he's just a lot of fun to kick it with and go do this stuff. And I enjoy more being around fun people who tend to be funny in that regard, more than people that you look at to try who seem to excel so more on stage rather than as people. It's just part of how I mean, I'm friends with some really good comics too, but I tend to gravitate towards the comics that are both good and cool people. Not just cool, I mean good people. And I'm not going to talk shit about all comics. Even the comics that I've not liked the most, I've found common ground with, and maybe that's just my recovery and all that. So I don't mean to be try to say that all comedians. There's a shithead in all of us. All right, there's a piece of shit in all of us, to as both comedians as people. But the people I tend to gravitate towards, I think, tend to be themselves, more themselves. And Bucci's definitely that. So he kicked off. I called him on the way over there to see, like, hey, maybe you want to have a little front yard, hangout session. Which, even in the shelter in place, they keep saying, "Don't do that." I'm like, we're not, we're the 6 feet and all that bullshit. I don't know. There's things that I think that are good to do as far as all this practice, and then there's just some stuff where I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna completely, I'm not deliberately going to do this all the time. It's just like if there's an opportunity to just do something slightly different, I will. And so, but he, in the end, he ended up he was busy with work. So I was like, yeah, no problem. I was just checking because I was on my way over to the grocery outlet, and he lives near there. So I go home, and then the next day I see a post. It was the next day or later that day. I saw a post of his on Facebook saying, "Hey, anybody good with Photoshop? I need have some work for you, paid work, if you're good with Photoshop." I almost contacted him because I'm not good with Photoshop, but I was just curious, maybe there's something I could do in a cut and paste on my own computer cheaply. And it's an easy, I'm always, I put in Iris Benson, comedian Iris Benson. She was looking for somebody close by to install her bidet before all this shelter in place really went hard into effect. And I had canceled my gigs that weekend. and she offered $50. I didn't know how to install a bidet. I just looked it up online. I'm like, how hard could it be? Saw it, looked pretty easy enough. I said, do you need tools, or do you have them? And she said she had the tools. So I went over there and I installed the bidet, learned how to put one in. It's really not that hard. Took about 30 minutes tops. It's disgusting, but still, I mean, if depending on how clean or whatever. And not that her toilet was so disgusting. It was just it hadn't been taken apart in a little while. And but that's part of the gig, and I did it, and it was fine. Made $50. It was good money, and that's side hustle shit for you. So anyway, so Mike Bucci made that offer, but I didn't follow up on that. And then not long after that, I saw what it was he wanted photoshopped, and it was this image that I'm showing you now. It was this. It's not even a meme per se, but it's basically taking the popular Netflix, the pop cultural phenomenon of the documentary series Tiger King, that in the wake of all of this pandemic has been a real focal point for so many people who are stuck at home, who are watching Netflix, and started watching this documentary that, quite frankly, I started watching it. It's interesting characters. And about halfway through, I just let it play and was on my phone most of the time because I really just lost interest in all of these awful people. There's Joe, there's Jeff, there's Carol who fed her husband to a tiger, and you got to watch it for yourself and invest your own time in it. But anyways, he ended up making this image that is that's what he spent his money on, or so I thought, and he posted it, tagged me in it, and I'm not gonna lie, I have a friend up in Portland. His name's Keith, one of my oldest friends. When he went through a whole phase of making all of these memes, or photoshopped images, where he went on a roll of making me Grumpy Cat, and then started putting celebrities in with the Grumpy Cat Dave, and then he even made one where I was a tiger with Katy Perry, and then he started. I mean, all of these images are just insane. And again, he was another friend did some acid with, and he went down on that whole tangent about a good 5-6 years ago, and I was tagged in all those, and I went along with them. I humor because but I'm gonna tell you something. I'm not, I'm a good sport. I have to work to be a good sport. My initial impulse when I see this shit is like, fuck. All right, I'm not into it. And so when I saw Mike's version, I'm like, fuck. Here we go again. And it's just my face, as you saw the image. Tiger mean, whatever, and just making me Joe Exotic, the Tiger King, and so yeah, so I'm just like, now I'm gonna have to deal with the comments or see the comments of this, and this was all, and I just I was in a state where when this shit happens, yes, I'm irritated, yes, I'm annoyed, but I know that's what people love. They love watching me be pissed off, annoyed, or whatever for humorous effect. Not if I'm really gonna be shitty. I used to be really shitty and use it to my advantage, but in this case, I'm like, no, I'm going to be playfully shitty, and that's what I did. So I did a lot of making fun of my buddy Mike, or talking shit for the most part. Not too much, just a little. And I even made my own image, which you'll see here. Made my own image for in response for the comments, so you can see my quality of Photoshop work. And then later on as the thread continued, Mike, in all of his wisdom, made an offer that if I were to take this image and put it as my cover photo on Facebook, that he will give me $1 for every like that I got in the next 24 hours. And that, if you'll know something, in case you haven't noticed the Venmo sign, I'm all about whatever I can do right now to make any money during this pandemic. So this was a welcome, and all of a sudden now this meme, this image, this everything, all of my resentful feelings go washed away because now I know the people, both comedians and fans and friends and recovery friends and all that. I know how they operate on Facebook. I know that I was not only going to get more likes than his posting of it, I knew it was probably going to hit at least 100 within 24 hours. And I was like, deal. Didn't tell Mike anything further. Posted that fucker. Immediately had a good attitude right away. Um, and Mike had no idea after I think it hit 150 likes within an hour and a half, I want to say. And at that point, Mike realized his mistake. And at this point too, you know what I was only thinking? I was like, he doesn't have to. He can pay me whatever he feels is. And he said, I'm gonna cap out at 150. And I said, oh fuck yeah, are you kidding me? So I got $150 donation. Right, within like an hour and a half of posting that image. But if he were to honor the 24 hours, he actually saved himself another $130 because I believe it hit 280 likes by 4:45 p.m. the next day, and it's already at over 300 total right now as it all said and done, comparable to corona case virus deaths in certain areas. And so yeah, so I ended up taking a screenshot of of my likes right above his posting in his likes, and just showing him like, yeah, that's what you didn't know. Like I know the people on, you may see my posts and they may only get like 10 to 20 likes here and there, occasionally a 50 or above. If I post like one of these show links, it can be anywhere from 5 to 50 depending on the algorithms and all that shit. But and occasionally I break the 100 mark if something really really lands or is contemporary or whatever, current and relevant. Um, but yeah, I knew that was going to be a hit, and Mike had no fucking idea. So yeah, so it was good. So made some good money with that. But that's all going towards this month's coming rent. So feel free again to donate if you have the means and are willing to be so generous. That'd be great. On top of that, trying not to look like completely I'm getting a blowy from your camera angle here the entire time. On top of that, so I kicked off the week. Then to round out the week, oddly enough, and this is something I think anybody who knows me on social media, mainly on Instagram or Twitter, um, I don't shy away from this. This is not news. Actually, a comedian not too long ago, Omar Palominos. He's barely a comedian. He's kind of a lap behind, and he posted a screenshot of I think it was Sophia Rose, who's a plus size adult model that I followed, and I click likes on the thirst trap posts. For those who don't know what thirst trap posts are, that's what it's, or they're thirst traps, whatever. Just basically posts that attract generally seemingly heterosexual men, and namely those that'll be commenting like oh baby, yeah, we got a hook that ever did, thinking that they're actually gonna, or not even thinking that, just the fantasy of meeting up with one or hearing back from them, all that bullshit. And I'm playful with it. I really don't give a shit. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm like, I'm not trying to really meet anybody. I just like being friends with people these days because it is just a headache having anything personal and physical beyond just friendship. But anybody who knows me knows that I follow booty models and porn stars and a few whatever cam models, all the shit, cosplayers. Those are like kind of the ones that are really popular these days. And I got, I'm not going to show her image on here or anything, but there was a fan of local comedian Arturo Regoza. He runs an open mic at a place called Pepper Tree Lounge in Union City, a shithole dive. And he runs some shows in the area, and he has a lady who likes to follow, who goes to the shows and the open mic and stuff. And I could easily tell she's an alcoholic from the point that she added me on Facebook and right away started sending me messages, but not just messages. She was calling me on Facebook Messenger. So you get the video, and I was like, thought it was strange. I thought maybe I was getting butt dialed. So I answered it, and there she is, buck naked in her kitchen. Kind of not like showing her whole deal, but she's clearly drunk, and just from seeing how she's kind of walking around and kind of half-eyed open. It's in the middle of a Saturday or a Sunday afternoon, and she's buck naked and occasionally letting the camera show her chest. And I'm like, oh shit! And because I'm also seeing she's calling me with this while I'm at my friend's house, who is my previous girlfriend. She's I don't like calling her my ex because she's one of my best friends. But I have a lot of love and respect for my friend. I am not about to try and talk to some, crazed woman who I don't even know, who just only knows me from one comedy show she saw me at, and who's now calling me naked in her kitchen, or whatever the hell room it was. I didn't have a chance to look. I think she sent a picture first, and then she started doing this. And I just try to humor people when they're in, before, because I think we chatted for a minute, and then she started sending these things, and then she would not stop trying to keep calling back. And I kept telling her, I'm like, I can't talk to you right now. I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry. It's, and I wasn't saying it like, oh, please don't. I'm like, I'm trying to be friendly and being like, yeah, that would be cool to see you and all that, but I can't right now. But this is also one of those times where it's like, it's more unnerving than arousing by any means. So I really wasn't, I'm like, yeah, this is, I'm in recovery too. 12-step recovery, been clean and sober for, 6 years. And, I'll tell you this, when I was still drinking and using, yeah, this is definitely something I would have embraced, but not today. Not because I'm not judging it. I'm not thinking anything bad of it. I just know that this is a woman who is clearly drunk and may have a problem. Don't know. Not for me to say. Don't know. And I'm not going to engage in that kind of behavior with somebody who may have a problem. I'm not in that place. I'm not being judgmental about it either. It's just, I know me today, and it's not attractive to me. Doesn't get me hard. So I end up chatting with her later, and these are one of those people too that when I mention my recovery, works like it's like having bad breath, which I also have. Basically, it's just like breathing some bad breath in on their personality and they just go away. If there's somebody who just isn't who's might have a problem and doesn't want to stop. So I mentioned all the recovery thing, and yeah, she's like later. So then cut to I think that was like 2 months ago, maybe 3 months ago. And she occasionally chimes in on anything. Well, just recently, I think it was like a few days ago. We're all stuck at home. We're all bored. We're all doing whatever. She started commenting on a photo and on another post. And originally, the photo, or no, on the post, she name drops Deja Morgan, who is also AKA Octo Booty. I think I can show you one of her pictures here. Octo Booty's awesome. Not only is she, gorgeous and she's hilarious. She's really fun to watch. She's a very eccentric stripper, porn adult, adult star and all that. And she's independent, really. She's just DIY style. She lives in Las Vegas. My friend James from Transylvanian Records, he claims that no, she lives in Fresno, that she's lying. So we have this long-standing debate of where she actually lives. But yeah, and then she tours and stuff, and I've seen her live before. She does an anal ring toss where she has a butt plug with like a stick out of her butt, and then everybody throws rings on it. And I got to see her live with my buddy Aaron and his friend Amy, and at least I got to throw rings, and I got at least 2 rings on the thing that landed, and we had fun. We had a good time. We didn't get to meet her during the meet and greet, so hopefully we'll get to meet her next time. And she's just a lot of fun to see because she's, just in terms of, I don't really even go to strip clubs anymore or anything like that. They're not interesting to me and all that stuff anymore. I did all that in my 20s and 30s. So, so this drunk woman, I don't know if she's drunk all the time, but she ends up out of nowhere mentions Deja Morgan. She misspells her name. And then she was saying, like, she said some snide, joke, trying to be cute remark of like, oh, you're not so mean, or this, that, and the other. I said, oh, I'm not. It's spelled Deja, and I corrected her, and everything seemed civil, just jokingly being whatever. And then, like hours later, on two different posts, I go to logins, which indicates again drunkenness. And she called me out of nowhere. It was on. I had my post of seeing me. I'll show it here. There's me, picture of me when I was younger with my sister. That my mom made us take these like Sears photos or whatever the fuck, and then she commented on that like, who knew you would grow up to be such a perv or something like that, and then she also mentioned I think she called me a perv or a pervert on another one. And I gotta say this, I'm not, I'm following Instagram booty models or in on Twitter and all that kind of shit. It's I'm open about it. I'm not ashamed of being a creep in that regard. I'm open with who I'm attracted to and all that kind of stuff. And I don't have anything to prove to anybody about anything. But I'll be damned. In probably one of the most, we live in a time now where to have some of the most ridiculous kinks, you can't make fun of them because then it's called shaming. We're not allowed to kink shame. We're not allowed to. And I'll be damned if I'm going to be shamed for just having pretty much garden variety, run of the mill meat and potatoes attractions to really just pictures. I'm not jerking off to them either. I watch porn on the internet on this, not on this computer. I have another computer dedicated to it, my old laptop. But yeah, I'm just I ain't gonna be. It's just one of those things where I'm like, it's just something I do in my spare time. It's stupid. Who cares? Um, but I'll be damned if I'm necessarily. I looked up the definition of pervert just to like make sure. I'm like, what is a pervert? And here's the definition right here. Actually, I forgot it. Let me, because I want to read it along with you. So let's see. The definition of pervert is. That's looking up the Wikipedia page here. All right. Here we are. It is. And this is on Google, mind you. Come on, come on. Now all of a sudden it wants to be slow. Because it's also not just, there's the verb meaning. And the verb meaning is alter something from its original course, meaning to state to a distortion or corruption of what was first intended. Now, I might have, I've done that at times. We all have. That means to, to fuck some shit up. You perverted. He was changed with conspiring to pervert the course of justice. See, that has to do with law. And as a noun, it means a person whose sexual behavior is regarded as abnormal and unacceptable. Wrong. Wrong. Not me. Why? Because I'm just following him on Instagram and Twitter, and that is the fucking most normal goddamn thing. What is perverted is stalking somebody's Instagram, followings, and then bringing it up and to pervert the course of a Facebook thread, and then try to make somebody feel bad, or I don't know what her end game was. Maybe she was jealous of whatever. So, and I tried talking to her originally, and then I was realizing, I'm like, wait a minute, this is the bitch that was sending me, trying to call me on Facebook Messenger, naked, drunk in her kitchen. Never mind. Let's not even have this discussion. So just blocked her on all the social medias I knew her to be on, which was Facebook and Instagram. And then on Twitter, there's this wonderful comedian who I've become a fan of ever since the pandemic, and his name's Brent Terhune. You can look him up on Twitter. He does these great videos where he is satirizing Trump supporters. He seems like he plays it so close to the bone that people believe he's a Trump supporter. And if you watch them closely enough, you realize he's not a Trump supporter. He's making fun of Trump supporters, and hilariously so. And so much to the point that then what he does is ends up exposing the quick to the other side of that coin, which is the real itchy trigger finger of the left or Trump haters and all of that, and really just exposing some real ugliness. And that's not really even the point of it. He's trying to make fun of the average Trump supporter per se, but in the end, he also kind of it's really just also pointing out just the ugliness of people. Let's laugh at everybody's real shitty behavior, and there's an anonymous. When I say anonymous, it's one of those Twitter. You get all kinds of bots and whatever other shit. But there was a Twitter handle that was following me called Red Hen 5, and so in this one on this one particular Brent Terhune post, it was regarding how Trump kept calling it the Chinese virus and how it was racist, and so and the reason he ended up having a friend, it was an Asian. I forget the backstory completely, but it had to do with an Asian friend of his who either came down with coronavirus or was harassed as a result of some of this backlash towards Asians in the wake of all this bullshit, which is real. That morons start blaming Asians over I've seen it myself, even with somebody in recovery. I couldn't fucking believe that shit. And so this person, this anonymous follower said, "Oh no, that's racist," and hashtagged it Trump virus or whatever. Didn't bother to look any further into it. I didn't even see the response until days later. And then I responded back. I was like, yeah, some gif of moron alert or something like that. And didn't expect anything after that. And then I forget what they responded with something, just kind of some weird tweet back. And then I tweeted back just another gif of one of my favorite cartoons of all time, The Tick. It was a gif of The Tick and Arthur just sitting there drinking coffee and waiting. And meant nothing by it, really. I just thought it was funny. And then, again, another day later, I got 7 notifications. Nobody really interacts with me much on Twitter. Twitter's people pay attention to me on Facebook, and Twitter is the total opposite of that shit. There is nobody paying attention to me very often on Twitter. Rarely do I get a like, let alone any interaction. Here and there, I do, and I'm paying attention to it more just because of the pandemic shit, and it's interesting stuff there. But I end up I end up getting 6 or 7 tweets from this Red Hen 5, and the first one said pervert, so I'm like, oh, this is another one of those assholes that's looking at who I follow and shit, because I don't really retweet. I might like an occasional post. Twitter's a little more creepy than Instagram because they got nudity, they got sex on there and all actual penetrations and shit, and so you got to watch yourself there. And again, I ain't gonna be James Gunn, and even if where I'm gonna have some kind of successful career to where somebody's gonna be combing through my Facebook posts or my tweets and who I follow and all that. And even if they were to, I'd be like, I stand by it. I'm sorry. I'm not anybody who's ashamed of my interests. I've also I've had sex with hookers before in my days of I've gone to strip clubs. I've done all that gamut, and I'm totally okay with it. Sex workers, by the way, that's what they're called now, because you can't shame them. But I'm a pervert. In the end, and the other tweets, the thing was, the other tweets were, it was time for your medicine, and then they posted. I didn't even click the link of the YouTube link, but it was a song, and there was 4 other tweets of the lyrics of this song, and part of me wanted to think maybe this was the woman too on Twitter, Hard to say. Don't know. So in the end, I was looking at, and then I saw they also they tweeted back at another fellow professional aspiring comedian that was way more popular than me. I'm not even gonna name him, but let's just call him Dark Balls, and which he doesn't have, by the way. And he ended up he didn't pay attention to it, but they call him, the thing about it, this Red Hen 05 or Redhead 5. Regardless of what they called me, I followed I looked at some of their tweets, and they got some problematic tweets using, it's not cool to use the word gay in a negative connotation. That's exactly what, and this person ended up calling Dark Balls a gay hack in response to one of their recent tweets, which I did have to laugh and think that was hilarious. And I'm like, I'm kind of on Redhead's side here, but I'm not gonna. But obviously, I don't like antagonizing to that degree the way I used to. So, and I was like, yeah, just block this motherfucker. And I did. So I just blocked him. Thought it was kind of cheap too, because I still like having fun with that kind of shit. Let's see how low they want to go. But like I said, I'm an open book, not a pervert. Pretty normal. Watch the same, my level of porn interests are to a certain level of creepy, but nothing that I think the average male isn't. I don't go too far. And even the ones that want to, yeah, whatever. That's their business, not mine. So, anyways, yeah. I mean, this is probably the most perverted thing I've done right here. Is invite you into my bed as I'm laying down in pretty much the you're seeing from the point of view of the most perverted thing I do today. Anyway, so with that all being done, and this is still longer than I anticipated it being. Sorry for the long story. It really, hopefully, you got some laughs out of it. But I want to end with some positivity in all of this pandemic stuff, and give you some referrals, some plugs for some friends of mine who have been really kind of helping me in a way in this time. They're labels. They're both friends of mine who run labels. One of which is my buddy Andy. I'm forgetting his last name. He goes by Drew Andrews on Andy Cattell. He runs the label Mortville Noise. You can look that up, Mortville Noise. Their Bandcamp. I'll show it right here. And he also is one of the champions of the band Captain Three Leg, of which I just recently got to do vocals. I got to write and do vocals on a song on their most recent Taco Tuesday split with Taco Tuesday, Captain Three Leg and Taco Tuesday, which you'll hear right now.
Young man, fuck off.
All right, that should be enough time. And so that was the song. It's called Young Man. It was called Off My Lawn, but then I forgot that my friends in the band, These Bastards, kicking it. I knew it somewhere. I thought Captain Three Leg might have wrote a song called Get Off My Lawn, but I was wrong. It was my friend's band, These Bastards, another great band, and they wrote a song kicking off their 7-inch called Get Off My Lawn. And so I changed the title from Off My Lawn to Young Man, which was the theme of it anyway. Inspired by also kind of a dipshit local comedian, too, who I'm pissed off at. And if you want me to name names, I don't want to say that, because he's actually not a bad dude and a funny comedian, and he's always pretending to be friendly and shit, but we'll call him T and Kevy. There we go. So, so he runs a label. Look it up, Mortville Noise and Captain Three Leg. And what Drew has been doing, Andy's been doing, is he's every day for 82 days he's posting on his on the Captain Three Leg page, the Mortville Noise page, and on his own page on Facebook the link to each of their releases starting from the beginning, and that day it's free to download, but they're only $1 anyway, and so they're well worth the money. Great releases. He's got a lot of the most current releases available for free download too on Captain Three Leg and Mortville Noise, because due to the pandemic and he doesn't feel in good conscience it's right to charge people for it. Good dude. Just an old friend of mine from my music days, and not only that, he also has released. We have a Captain Three Leg MeanDave split from 2013. You can download that as well. It's available there. Also on Mortville Noise, he released my old band Woozor, one of my favorite old bands I was in. He released our discography, which was all of our records that we released and 5 unreleased tracks, and that's actually a really good bargain and not a bad band either, to say so myself being in it. But so I want to give a plug to Drew Andrews, aka Andy Cattell, and Captain Three Leg and Mortville Noise. So check out all their stuff, and if you can later on, throw them some donations or buy some of the CDs when they're available for sale and stuff. Yes, he still sells CDs. I got some. And then on top of that, and then the next label is my friend James Raw, who he was one of the co-producers of the second wave of In the Meantime on YouTube. Our produced late night shows. You can check out old episodes 14 through 20, and James is all over those with me. And he runs a label called Transylvanian Tapes right here. Check their Bandcamp out. And he is also has all of their releases available for free download, and he's got great stuff on there if you're into doom and just the blackest of sounds of metal and hardcore. Not so much hardcore, no, not metal, doom, some death rock and whatever. He's got a great sampler if you want to check that out. One of my favorite releases from last year is on his label. It's a band called Chrome Ghost, one of my new favorite bands, and they've got a great release. I think it's the Divine Bell. I think it's what it's called. And yeah, check that one out. They're actually, even if you're not into all the doomy stuff, if you're a fan of anything from Alice in Chains to Tool to the Melvins or something, just any of the stuff that's a little bit, they're an excellent band. I could see them even possibly crossing into more than just the heavy underground scenes. They got some pop appeal. And then, so Transylvanian Tapes, check them out. Support him too. If you're into buying cassettes, which, people still make cassettes, they do. Buy them, get them, support them. And then also another label who I'm kind of lost touch with him, but he released my old band Funeral Shock. He released old stuff that's Scotty Karate from Tank Crimes. I'll throw their Bandcamp up here, even though I'm not as in touch with him as much anymore. But he also too has some great stuff available for free download. That's a little more of the punk rock, and they've got the more popular thrash metal bands, Cannabis Corpse and Ghoul. They're on there. One of my favorite bands on there is Brain Oil. And then he's got a great back catalog too, of a lot of punk and hardcore and stuff. But Spaz, actually, popular DIY underground Spaz, they have all their releases, CD releases and record releases on there. So they're all free, available to download as well. So go get on that shit. But yeah, I just want to plug all their labels and support them when all this stuff's over and you got some money again, possibly. So yeah, those are the positives. Support all the comedy shows. Again, plug this Thursday, every Thursday, the pandemic, G and I, comedians, show and tell. We'll be doing that show. So hit us up for the Zoom links and passwords for that. And every Sunday, another terrible podcast by comics in isolation, doing our Zoom podcast live 6 p.m. on Sundays, and this Sunday. And I think that should. Do I have any other plugs on these? Thanks.
Catch story?
Let's try to work on our people skills. This is a song you should let listen to. Listen to this song.
I'm not hey,
Right.
Ryan.